Hello and welcome to another episode of the Hello Hosty podcast. Today I am joined by Guillem Pasarin from Anana Homes. Hello, welcome Guillem.
Hello, thank you, Cliff, for inviting me to your podcast.
Thank you for joining us. So Guillem operates Anana Homes, and Anana Homes is based in France, Spain, and Mexico. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. We operate in these three countries. In Mexico, here in Guadalajara, I'm based out in Guadalajara, Mexico. We also operate in Tulum, in the Riviera Maya, in Quintana Roo. And also in France, we operate in the Pyrenees on the border with Spain. And then in Spain, we have properties in the islands of Menorca, also very, very luxurious villas there. But that's now where we are operating right now.
Okay, so we've kind of covered who you are and what service you offer. So let's talk a bit more about the service you offer. How do you operate these properties? What kind of service is going on there?
Sure. Anana Homes is actually a property management company that offers different services for owners, but also with a high focus on the customer experience. So what we offer to the owners is actually a range of management solution that comes from maximizing revenue with hospitality revenue management techniques. Also, we work on finance, or basically income statement of what goes in, what goes out, just to be very transparent about what's the net of the owners. We also operate a solution of sales and marketing that goes from listing the property and the major OTAs, but also meta search or other sites that actually can drive revenue, into marketing 360 that goes with social media, photography, virtual tours, etc. Also, we operate on, this is one of the part of the main thing of Anana Home, which is the customer experience. We go with the owner with the full cycle of the customer on the pre-stay, stay, and post-stay. And also we offer other ones like operations, legal, and so on. So we offer that range of solutions for them.
So what led you to this point, Guillem?
Well, I mean, my journey has always been in hospitality. So since I studied in hospitality back in Spain, I was working in different places in Brussels, in Spain, in Paris, London, and I started as a receptionist in a hotel on the day-to-day operations in a hotel. Okay. Also, after that, I was able to work as a owner representative in Paris with a major project in Paris for a 5-star hotel. So I always been involved in hospitality, and over the last 8 years, I was working for one of the major OTAs in the e-commerce segment within hospitality. So
would you like to share which OTA?
Yeah, booking.com. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure interesting to a lot of people listening.
Yeah, no, for sure. I was in charge back then in New York for the major chain like Marriott. So I was involved with them with the day-to-day business, to understanding the needs that they needed with booking.com, and understanding what it's needed actually to bring more customers and more satisfaction to clients. So yeah, at some point this year, I found myself with this background of hospitality and also understanding of the guest needs within the short-term rental. So that's the reason why I created Anana Homes. It was born this year actually to redefine a little bit of the travel experience, just to close the gap between the comfort of a home within the short-term rental, but also actually to deliver the excellence of hospitality and customer experience, which I believe sometimes there's a gap between both. So this is what we're trying to bring in Anana Homes in the industry.
Yeah, to level up the guest experience.
Well, more to level. In my opinion, I think more to level up is just to give the guests the proper experience.
Yeah.
Of then, if they want to level up, they can actually. We have different leverages where they can actually upgrade their stay.
Yeah, sure.
I think that it's worth it that the guests, when when they spend so many hours traveling, is a full journey that they go through. They arrive to a home or hotel or whichever accommodation that they have chosen, to actually to have the rest or the experience that
they
they
offer. Yeah. You know, it's interesting, this concept. I've got a couple of things to say about this. I agree with you in terms of business in general, not just hospitality, but in terms of providing, I consider it to be like a massive value add, like give as much value as possible. If you're somebody's paying you for something, then the best thing you can do, if you want to ensure that they're happy and that they find value in what you do, is to give them as much value as possible. And so, I mean, I apply that in my hospitality business. In the tech company, we give as much value as possible. One thing that, I mean, and to explain that, I think I have the perfect example. One thing that really annoys me, frustrates me as a guest, when I go to a property in a hot country and you've paid some money. I mean, I don't necessarily stay in the most expensive nor the cheapest properties, but I stay in decent places. And when I arrive in a hot country and I drop my bags, I just want a glass of water. Water costs pennies and there's no water in the property. I'm just like, this property manager has no concept of what his guests need. Every human on the planet needs water. And for them not to provide it, for me, from my perspective, is a massive oversight in terms of that is a really, really easy way to add value, make someone feel welcome.
We understood this in Anana Homes, and that's one of the value propositions that we offer to customers, that they are like some freebies or amenities or services that they're included within the price. For example, one is concierge and some perks and discount with the concierge services, but also is the welcome drink, just a water or just a service to arrive and just have that amenity included. Well as, for example, late checkout. Late checkout, we do offer that service that you can actually leave the property at 12 p.m. with no cost, because we know that maybe it's your last day in that remote place where you really wanted to go. Finally, you're there. It's your last day. You give everything as your last day of vacation, and maybe you want to enjoy a little bit later that checkout experience. We also offer that, but 100% with you. There's little details that they don't cost much in hospitality, and actually they bring a massive value for type of customers.
Like, I mean, on the water topic, I consider it to be as important as toilet paper. If I went to a property, probably more important. I mean, if I'm dying of thirst, I would put more value on water. But but to provide, to think about what the guest needs and to provide it is really important. So what's your current bottleneck in your business?
I think like many of businesses, I mean, operations, it's part of the bottleneck. I mean, operations without sacrificing quality, I think that's the bottleneck. I mean, how to stream the operations with quality, that's really what is hard, because you can run operations more seamlessly or less, but maintain a quality within those operations. This is where it becomes a challenge, and without forgetting actually the customer, and not sacrificing that service, that quality within your operations team. I think that's one of the most challenging things, and I think that technology sometimes help on that, but you need, in this case, in this business and in the industry, that human touch to resolve those issues.
It's a delicate balance between automation and the guest experience. Both are important. Both are important. So how do you manage a business that requires you or a member of your team to be available around the clock to respond and deal with guests? How do you manage this?
I think in what we do in Anana Homes, I think it's more about three key things. You know, one is the organization, second is technology, and third, as I mentioned before, I mean, is the instinct or the human touch of hospitality. So when you combine those three, this is where magic happens. But magic doesn't happen just by clicking the fingers. So We work very, very seriously on organization and communication within our internal stakeholders. Just them to know just what needs to be done in every part of let's say the cycle of the traveler.
Mm-hmm.
And then technology, it goes along with that organization. So the combination of both makes the perfect team. And then the last touch is actually the human touch that always is very necessary for any job. But within this job, and we deal with human beings that they are at the out of comfort zone. So
Mm-hmm.
they travel actually to be out of the comfort zone. So we need to bring that comfort zone to them by offering hospitality services, combining organization and technology. So I think it's very challenging, but very very rewarding when you're able to combine them all.
Yeah, yeah, good. So what do you spend most of your time doing as a host or a property manager?
I mean, I always, the day to day always it's very busy, and you tend to forget where you focus on as a host. But I think that there are three key parts of the business why we're doing the business. So one is the demand, which is the guest. So part of the daily task, they go into aspects of the guest, not only guest satisfaction, but also how to improve every internal procedures towards the guest. Second is actually working on the supply, which is the owners.
Yeah.
So how we manage these relationship with the owners. What do they need? What are their needs? What are the constraints or things that maybe they're worried? So we try to listen to them, apply different techniques and to actually to cover those needs, but also actually to show them the value of what we're doing.
Yeah.
And last but not least is the business. So after when you as a host, you manage the guest, you manage the owner, then what else can you do within the business to actually to improve towards those 2 points, but also taking care of the profitability of your own company. So I think it's a lot, but I would focus on these three parts as a host.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's interesting that you broke it down into three areas like that. I've always thought of this business as being really, well, you could break it down two ways but what I've always thought about, you can either break it down in a sense of you have the online business, because a lot of it is to do with working online. You've got the marketing, handling the booking platforms, the reservations, etc., and then you have the physical side of the business. But then you've broken it down in quite an interesting way as to say the property owner and the guest. And you do you sit in as property managers, we sit in the middle, and then there's the overall broad concept of the business. But it's interesting to see how you break that down psychologically and handle it in your world. So looking back, what advice would you give yourself when you first started out?
I think do not rush. I think we have some people we have in our DNA, and when starting a business, like rushing. The more you rush, the more velocity you put into it, the better things are coming. And that's, I think, one of the first mistakes that I did at the beginning, and I just needed to sit down and say, like, okay, let's have that organization that I was thinking within the business, and don't rush. Also, I would give myself a tip of do not plan for everything, just let it flow, but with a good foundation, or what it's called an MVP, right? A minimum value a product, just to show, like, okay, this works, and then we're gonna see how this product evolves with our customers and owners. Just listen to it, do a list, and work towards improving these aspects instead of building everything as you think that it would work. Just a combination of both. Mm-hmm. And I think there is a very interesting book on startups, and it's called The Lean Startup. Yeah, it actually tells you how to manage these things, and just to be very realistic on where are you going. Maybe sometimes you need to do one step back to actually to do 3 steps forward. So
Yeah.
I think sometimes we rush and we don't stop
Mm.
and auto um how to do a self assessment of
Yeah.
how the
It's a,
things are going.
it's a
So
great book that it's a great
yeah,
book. And I've read it. The concept of the MVP, such a simple concept, but
yeah,
so valuable. And you see so many people in business don't create the feedback loop, don't listen to people, and it accelerates growth. I mean, it's the only way to grow, really, by listening to what your
there's
clients want.
there's a good example of a company that failed, and it was supposed to be the most innovative a company, backed with Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, and all them.
Hmm.
You should read about it. It's the Segway. Do you remember the Segway?
Okay,
The
no, but
those
yeah, I know that.
mobile.
Yeah.
So they it was a very very famous inventor. He was inventing a lot of stuff, and he was always selling their products, and they found like, okay, this is going to be the invention of the century.
The new
Bill
transport.
Gates, Jeff Bezos, they wanted to invest massively, but he didn't listen to anybody. He was so sure about that it would be so revolutionary that he will have a game changing in the human being. And look, I don't see any segue, but the story behind that MVP and learning about the customers, what they're doing, this is something that they didn't do,
Yeah.
and and it didn't work out at the end. But
Mm,
that's a good story to read about the
yeah.
segue.
Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, I haven't heard about that. But you're right. The only place I see those things is usually in the center of a city where there's tourists and they're doing the tours. That's the only place I see those segways. Or
Exactly.
maybe like I think maybe I've seen police in an airport use them. Maybe.
Yeah, because there's a lot of regulations on these. That's why
Yeah.
you don't see this in
Yeah.
everywhere, because there's a lot of regulations that you need to take in place. So that's why it's specifically with permits or places that the government allows it. So,
Right.
well,
Okay.
that what happens with companies sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
This,
Yeah. Interesting. So, do you have any hacks, tricks, or tips that you can offer our listeners? And that can be from any walk of business or life.
yeah, I think I learned this about myself after many many years of self-assessment and retrospective, etc. And I think that one of the things that everybody can do, it's with time, is actually learn forever. So, and we were just discussing in another call that I just signed up for a course about a ChatGPT. Okay, so what I do when I'm interested of learning something is not to burn myself with a lot of content. So what I do first is actually I said, I don't know, a training or of 15 to 30 minutes, just in a topic, whatever topic can be. After 30 minutes of watching this, I don't know, book or reading a book or audio podcast or online course or anything, my rule is after 30 minutes, if you see yourself motivated and with hungry to learn more, then I sign up for a larger course of
Hmm.
15 hours or 10 hours. But I would say like learn forever, just train your brain, but with with a short amount of information, and just see by yourself if you're really interested. And if it's something that is very important, but you don't see much interested, so learn it anyway because you need to do it, but just work in a way that you delegate that to someone, and very important with resources.
Yeah.
Because if you don't give resources when you delegate, nothing good is going to happen.
Mm.
So I would say learn forever, you and people around you, and I think you're gonna wake up every day with something new that and that's something that fuels yourself
Yeah.
into into be a new person.
Some good advice. Some good advice. Keep learning. Just keep learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's really important to keep learning. So thank you so much for joining us today. If people would like to find out more about you or about Anana Homes, how will they do this?
Yeah, you can reach me out in my personal email, which is guillem.pasarin@ananahomes.com, or you can also visit our website, ananahomes.com, and in the section of contact, yeah, just drop me an email or something, and we're gonna be in touch. Happy to help and happy to talk.
Awesome. Guillem, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Cliff.
Thank you.
Bye.